Most people spend their lives in chains they cannot see, the chains of wanting to be liked. They compromise their voice, soften their opinions, and bend their will, all in the desperate pursuit of approval. But Machiavelli, the master of power, revealed a brutal truth. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. The man who seeks to be liked becomes a slave to the opinions of others. He is pulled in every direction, never standing firmly on his own feet. But the man who commands respect, whether through strength, strategy, or silence, becomes untouchable. Respect lasts, liking fades. This is the respect switch no one teaches you. Once you flip it, you stop chasing validation and start attracting true power. The cost of chasing approval. The desire to be liked is the most silent yet most dangerous chain that binds men. It seems harmless at first. What is wrong with wanting others to smile at you, to speak kindly of you, to praise your character? But Machiavelli saw clearly that this pursuit is nothing more than slavery dressed in virtue. The moment your sense of worth depends on the applause of others, you have surrendered your independence. You no longer act for yourself, you act for them. And once you depend on their approval, they can manipulate you with frightening ease. They do not even need to raise a weapon against you. All they must do is withhold affection, and you crumble. All they must do is turn their backs, and you chase them, desperate to be let back into their favor. Love, Machiavelli warned, is never steady. It is built on convenience and self-interest. People love you only when you serve their needs, when you make them comfortable, when you reinforce their illusions. But the moment you fail to deliver what they desire, the same lips that once praised you will spit curses against your name. The crowd that lifts you up on their shoulders today will abandon you tomorrow without hesitation. The affection of others is like a coin that is constantly spent and never held. It passes from hand to hand, never staying with you for long. Respect, however, is made of stronger metal. Respect does not rely on how people feel about you in a given moment. It is rooted in how they see you, your strength, your decisiveness, your ability to stand firm even when the crowd turns hostile. A respected man is not easily discarded because his worth does not lie in pleasing others, but in commanding them. He is valued not for his smile, but for his resolve, not for his charm, but for his authority. To seek approval, then, is to live in permanent dependency. You will forever adjust your tone, soften your stance, and bend your will just to remain in the good graces of others. You will never act as you truly wish, only as they wish you to act. And in this way, you forfeit your sovereignty without even realizing it. But the man who rejects approval, who abandons the weak desire to be liked, steps into something far greater: power. For when you no longer need their affection, you gain the freedom to act with clarity, decisiveness, and conviction. And paradoxically, it is in that freedom that people begin to respect you, even if they do not like you. 2. Silence commands more than words. Weak men cannot tolerate silence. They fill the air with explanations, justifications, nervous chatter, hoping that through sheer openness others will like them, understand them, or grant them approval. But Machiavelli understood a darker truth. Words often diminish power, while silence multiplies it. The man who explains too much exposes his insecurities. The man who seeks to be understood at all costs hands over the keys to his mind, allowing others to enter freely and judge him. In contrast, the man who withholds, who leaves his thoughts unspoken, becomes larger in the eyes of others. His silence forces them into uncertainty, and uncertainty is where respect begins. Mystery has always been a weapon of rulers. A leader who speaks sparingly makes every word feel like a decree. His silence does not signal emptiness, it signals calculation. People lean forward, analyzing his every gesture, interpreting his pauses as carefully as his speech. They begin to imagine that he knows more than he reveals, that his silence hides strategy, that his restraint is born of strength. In reality, he may be doing nothing but waiting, but to those around him, the silence is heavy, thunderous, unshakable. His power grows not by what he says, but by what he refuses to say. To be liked, a man must talk. He must flatter, explain, smooth over misunderstandings, reveal his inner workings so that no one feels threatened. But to be respected, a man withholds. He does not rush to fill the silence. He forces others to sit in it. He does not reveal his every thought. He forces others to guess, to wonder, to anticipate. And in that anticipation, power is born. A man who does not need approval does not speak to please. His words are few but deliberate. Each sentence is final, cutting, immovable. He does not drown others in endless arguments. He ends them with a single line. The silence that follows is not weakness. It is not emptiness. It is dominance. Silence is the throne from which respect is commanded, and the man who learns to wield it never needs to beg for attention. He already has it. 3. The respect of boundaries. To be liked, you must constantly say yes. Yes to favors, yes to requests, yes to demands on your time and energy. You bend yourself to the will of others, thinking that endless generosity will earn their admiration. But Machiavelli knew the truth. When you give yourself too freely, you are not loved, you are used. People do not value what they can obtain without effort. They do not respect what is always available. The man who gives himself without boundaries becomes a servant, not a master. Boundaries are the invisible walls of power. They are the lines that declare this far and no further. They are not simply restrictions, they are declarations of value. Every time you say no, every time you refuse to be swayed by guilt or pressure, you remind the world that your time, your energy, your presence has worth. And people respect what has worth. They may resent your refusal in the moment, but beneath that resentment lies recognition. You are not like the others who bend. You are firm. You cannot be bought with shallow flattery or cornered with emotional manipulation. You stand your ground, and that ground becomes sacred.
The world does not reward limitless generosity. It rewards discipline. It rewards restraint. It rewards the man who is selective. Machiavelli would remind you, kings do not kneel to their subjects. Commanders do not obey their soldiers. Power is maintained not through endless giving, but through the art of withholding. Learn to say no without apology, and you will find that respect follows quickly. For when you set boundaries, you stop being taken for granted, and you start being desired. 4. Kindness without strength is worthless. From childhood, we are taught that kindness is the highest virtue, that if we are generous, forgiving, and endlessly giving, the world will love us in return. But Machiavelli tears this illusion apart. Kindness without strength is not virtue, it is weakness dressed in soft clothing. A man who is kind but powerless is not admired, he is exploited. His generosity does not inspire gratitude, it invites greed. People take what he offers and mock him when he is gone. They do not thank him for his sacrifices because, in their eyes, he had no choice. His kindness was born of fear, fear of conflict, fear of rejection, fear of standing firm. And such kindness, instead of earning admiration, breeds only contempt. True kindness carries weight only when it is backed by power. Respect flows not from softness, but from the ability to be hard and the decision not to be. A ruler who has the strength to punish but chooses to pardon commands reverence, because his mercy is a choice, not a necessity. His subjects know he could destroy them if he wished, and that knowledge makes his kindness shine brighter. But a man who shows kindness because he is unable to do otherwise, because he fears confrontation, because he lacks authority, because he seeks approval, will be despised. His kindness is not seen as noble, but as cowardice. Machiavelli understood the cruelty, when controlled, often earns more respect than weak kindness. The general who enforces harsh discipline is feared, but he is also obeyed. His soldiers may not like him, but they march for him. The leader who bends over backwards to be liked, however, finds his authority undermined. His people grow unruly, testing him, pushing his limits, knowing that he lacks the resolve to act. In their eyes, he is not merciful, he is pathetic. The switch, then, is simple. Do not strive to be kind in order to be liked. Build power first. Establish strength, authority, and respect. Then, and only then, let kindness flow as a choice. When you do, your gestures will no longer be seen as weakness, but as magnanimity. A gift from a powerful hand is treasured. A gift from a desperate hand is scorned. This is the truth Machiavelli left us with. Kindness without strength is worthless, but kindness rooted in power is unforgettable. 5. Consistency creates respect. The man who seeks to be liked is a reed in the wind. He bends with every shift in opinion, changing his tone, his stance, his very identity to keep the crowd pleased. He tells one group what they want to hear, then whispers the opposite to their rivals. For a time, this may win him affection. People will smile, clap, and call him agreeable. But beneath that surface, everyone knows the truth. Such a man cannot be trusted. If he bends for you, he will bend for someone else tomorrow. If his words change with the room, then his loyalty is worth nothing. And when trust is gone, respect vanishes with it.
Machiavelli admired rulers who refused to bend under the pressure of public opinion, for he understood that consistency, even when unpopular, builds reliability. A ruler who stands firm, even when criticized, even when mocked, commands respect precisely because people know where he stands. They may not always agree with him, but they know he cannot be swayed by flattery, threats, or the noise of the crowd. And in a world where most men are willing to trade their convictions for applause, the one who holds steady appears unshakable, almost immovable. Imagine two men standing before the same crowd. The first shifts his message depending on who listens, chasing approval like a beggar chasing coins. The second speaks the same truth in every room, regardless of whether the audience cheers or hisses. Which of the two will be remembered? Which of the two will be respected when the noise fades? The first may be liked temporarily, but the second becomes a pillar, a figure others lean on when storms arise. Consistency creates an aura of strength. It shows that you are not a slave to fashion, gossip, or popularity. It tells the world that your principles are not for sale. And over time, that consistency breeds authority, because people learn that your words and your actions align. The man who is liked may win fleeting smiles. The man who is consistent wins lasting respect. Popularity is fragile, vanishing with the first gust of criticism. But consistency is eternal. It is the foundation on which true power is built. 6. Control through indifference. Approval-seeking is visible desperation. You can see it in a man's eyes when he is waiting for a smile, in his nervous laugh when he hopes to be accepted, in his restless words when silence makes him feel unwanted. This hunger exposes weakness. It tells the world, I need you more than you need me. And once people see that need, they can manipulate it at will. Machiavelli understood that the true weapon of the powerful is not desire, but indifference. For the one who needs nothing cannot be controlled. Indifference is not laziness, nor is it apathy. It is strategy. It is the deliberate act of showing that you are not moved by gossip, not disturbed by rejection, not swayed by flattery, and not chained by approval. When others expect you to beg for attention, but you remain calm, when they try to provoke you, but you stay unmoved, you flip the balance of power. They begin to crave your recognition. They fight for your approval. They start to circle around you, hoping for a reaction. You do not give. The man who is liked always chases. He adapts, he bends, he reaches. But the man who is respected does the opposite. He stands still and the world adjusts to him. His indifference makes him magnetic. People become obsessed with earning a nod from him because they cannot easily obtain it. His calm detachment forces others to value what little attention he gives as if it were gold. Indifference, then, is not about rejecting people. It is about controlling them. By showing that you can walk away at any moment, you create fear of loss. By revealing that you do not need them, you force them to need you. This is one of the sharpest blades in the arsenal of respect. For while approval seekers beg for scraps of attention, the indifferent man becomes the one others beg from. His silence becomes authority. His distance becomes power. And his very lack of need becomes the proof of his dominance.
7. Respect is rooted in power, not love. Machiavelli's most famous lesson cuts deeper than most men are willing to accept. It is far safer to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Why? Because love is built on conditions, while respect is built on power. Love is given freely, but it is also taken away just as easily. A man may love you today for what you provide, but tomorrow, when circumstances shift, that love turns to resentment, betrayal, or indifference. Love is a gift that can vanish overnight. Respect, however, is not given. It is forced into existence by the recognition of strength. It endures as long as your power endures. The man who seeks love will bend himself endlessly to please others, to make sure he offends no one, to make himself agreeable to all. He will gain affection for a season, but in the end he will be discarded like an entertainer who has outlived his amusement. But the man who demands respect does not rely on charm or approval. He relies on the reality that he cannot be ignored. People may not always like him, but they cannot dismiss him. His presence carries weight. His words carry authority. His will carries consequence. Respect is not cruelty, though cruelty can enforce it. Respect is not fear alone, though fear can sharpen it. Respect is the recognition of capability, the knowledge that you can enforce your will, that you have the strength to act, that you cannot be trifled with. It does not matter if they smile at you when you walk into the room. What matters is that they lower their voices, straighten their posture, and remember not to test you. That is respect, and it is worth infinitely more than love. Machiavelli understood that power is the soil from which respect grows. Without power, your kindness is mocked. Without power, your love is exploited. Without power, your presence is ignored. But once power is established, respect flows naturally. And in that respect lies security. For while love abandons you at the first sign of inconvenience, respect binds people to you out of necessity, out of fear, out of recognition that you stand on a different level than they do. If you are forced to choose, abandon the need to be loved. Let love come if it wishes, but do not beg for it. Build power, and respect will follow. For love is a whisper, but respect is an echo
that never fades. 8. Respect through control of emotion. Nothing reveals weakness faster than uncontrolled emotion. A man who seeks to be liked believes he must show his feelings openly, smiling to win affection, raging to prove passion, weeping to display sincerity. He thinks vulnerability will make him lovable. But Machiavelli understood the opposite. Emotion is not a gift, it is a weapon, and the man who carelessly exposes his emotions places that weapon in the hands of others. Show anger too quickly, and enemies know how to provoke you. Sow jealousy, and rivals know where to wound you. Show desperation, and the world knows you can be bought. The respected man is a fortress. His emotions may exist, but they do not spill out for the crowd to feast upon. He is composed when others would erupt, calm when others would panic, steady when others collapse under pressure. This composure breeds awe because it is rare. Most men are slaves to their impulses, prisoners of their moods. The one who rules himself, who keeps his emotions under iron discipline, appears almost superhuman. And when others cannot read your face, when they cannot predict your reaction, they begin to fear the depths they cannot see.
To be liked, you must mirror emotions. Laugh when others laugh, cry when they cry, rage when they rage. But to be respected, you must resist this pull. Indifference to provocation, composure in chaos, serenity in the face of insult, these are the marks of authority. They show that no one has the power to control you. Machiavelli knew that the ruler who masters himself masters all, for the crowd is quick to test, to provoke, to challenge. But when they discover that no insult rattles you, no praise sways you, no rejection breaks you, they stop treating you like one of them. They begin to see you as something above them. And once that separation is established, respect becomes automatic. Learn this. Emotions can inspire sympathy, but they rarely inspire respect. Restraint, discipline, and composure, these are the traits that elevate you above the masses. The man who cannot rule his temper cannot rule a kingdom. But the man who governs his inner storms becomes ungovernable himself. That is why Machiavelli insisted, respect is born not from what you feel, but from what you refuse to show. 9. The respect of scarcity. Most men make themselves endlessly available, thinking that constant presence will earn affection. They're always ready to answer, always eager to serve, always at everyone's disposal. But Machiavelli understood a profound truth. Familiarity breeds contempt. When you are everywhere, you become ordinary. When you are always accessible, your presence loses weight. People begin to take you for granted, to assume that you will always be there, to devalue your time, your attention, your very existence. The liked man sacrifices power for presence, and in doing so, he diminishes himself. Scarcity, on the other hand, is magnetic. The man who is seldom seen, whose time is not cheaply given, whose attention is earned rather than assumed, instantly becomes more valuable. People begin to notice the weight of his absence before they even encounter his presence. Every rare appearance carries significance. Every word he utters feels heavier. Every decision he makes carries consequence. Scarcity creates an aura of importance. It forces others to recognize that your time, your energy, your being is not something to be squandered. To wield scarcity is to control desire. When you do not chase the approval of others, but instead make yourself selective, people begin to chase you. They seek your attention, your recognition, your company, because it is not freely given. The more elusive you are, the more respect grows. It is not manipulation, it is reality. People respect what they cannot easily possess. And the scarcity of a powerful man does not diminish him, it magnifies him. Machiavelli saw that kings, generals, and advisors alike used scarcity as a tool of influence. A ruler who appears only at critical moments commands more respect than one who is constantly present. A commander who visits the battlefield sparingly is revered. His absence makes his appearance an event, his advice a decree. The same principle applies in every realm of life. Availability reduces authority, and scarcity enhances it. The lesson is clear. Stop giving yourself freely. Stop trying to please by always being there. Make your presence rare, your words scarce, your time precious. People will no longer take you lightly. They will lean in. They will anticipate. They will respect you, all because you have made yourself worth respecting. Scarcity is not arrogance, it is power, and it is one of the most overlooked keys to commanding respect in a world obsessed with fleeting affection.
10. Respect is built on results, not intentions. The world does not care for good intentions. It does not honor plans, promises, or noble thoughts. It does not remember the man who meant well. Machiavelli understood that admiration is not given for effort, it is earned through achievement. A man who seeks to be liked will endlessly explain his aims, justify his decisions, and speak of the vision he holds. But vision alone does not bend reality. Words alone do not sway power. Only results matter. Only action backed by consequence commands respect. The man who pursues respect understands this unflinching truth. People do not care about what you intend, they care about what you deliver. A ruler who talks of fairness but allows injustice to prevail is despised. A general who promises victory but loses the battle is laughed at. But the man who acts decisively, who produces tangible outcomes, who leaves a mark that cannot be ignored, he is remembered, revered, feared, and respected. Results are undeniable. They do not require explanation, negotiation, or pleading. They stand as proof of your power. Respect built on action carries weight far beyond the reach of popularity. While the liked man relies on charm, promises, and affability, the respected man relies on evidence. Every decision he makes, every obstacle he overcomes, every victory he achieves becomes a monument to his authority. People may not love him, they may grumble, criticize, or envy, but they cannot deny his effectiveness, and in that undeniable effectiveness lies the seed of respect. Machiavelli's ultimate lesson is this: do not waste your life trying to be admired for your thoughts, your feelings, or your good intentions. Stop explaining why you're worthy. Stop hoping people will notice your virtue. Make them notice through your results. Build, conquer, achieve, and act. Let your victory speak. Let your strength manifest in deeds. For in the end, the world respects not the man who means well, but the man who delivers. And once you deliver consistently, once you turn intention into reality, respect becomes inevitable. Most men spend their lives chasing approval, bending to the opinions of others, and sacrificing their sovereignty for the fleeting comfort of being liked. They mistake smiles for loyalty, flattery for admiration, and friendship for influence. But Machiavelli teaches a far harsher, far more liberating truth. Respect is earned, not begged. It is built through strength, consistency, composure, scarcity, and results. It is rooted not in affection, but in recognition of power. The switch is in your hands. Stop seeking to be liked. Speak less, enforce boundaries, master your emotions, withhold your presence, act decisively, and let your achievements do the talking. Do not wait for validation. Do not plead for approval. Build a life so solid, so undeniable, that respect becomes inevitable. Let people chase you. Let them anticipate you. Let them measure your worth not by your friendliness, but by your authority. You cannot control whether people like you, but you can control whether they respect you. And in a world obsessed with approval, that distinction is everything. Begin today. Choose strength over approval, consistency over charm, results over intentions. Command your presence, master your emotions, and wield your scarcity. Flip the respect switch and watch as the world bends toward you, not because it loves you, but because it must. If you are ready to stop living for others and start commanding respect, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Share this video with someone who needs to learn the difference between being liked and being respected. And remember, respect is not given, it is earned. Make them earn it.